Welcome to another session of Join the Chat. I am Renford, Mr. Bojangles, one of your hosts for the evening. Alongside me tonight is Joe, Andre, and Kimmy. This is Join the Chat, the place where every single voice matters, where your opinions are important, where you are empowered to express yourself, and we try to offer free and an open space to speak and also to be able to be heard. So once again, we are here on this Thursday night. Before we get started, we have a few things that kind of hit close to home. So we just want to just pay some respects to our brother Ghislaine, who can't be here this afternoon. He's going through a loss of a family member. So we just want to have a moment of silence for Tyson Pancake Ngozi, and also for all of those Haitians who are out there. President was assassinated. President Moise was assassinated recently. So before we get started with anything on this conversation tonight, we just want to have a moment of silence. So we'll just take a quick 30-second pause. Let's just be quiet and pay our respects. I thank y'all for that. I thank you for that moment of silence. So it's so fitting that the topic of today's conversation is world controversies. And there seems to be a lot that are going on in this last, I want to say even week, man. Forget 2021, but this last week, 2 weeks, so many things have hit. So there's so much stuff that we can talk about. I don't even know where we want to start. Is there a starting point that anyone wants to go with? I mean, we spoke about Ghislaine. We can even start on, his cousin who passed away, right? We have these young individuals out here, and these senseless killings are happening. There's gun violence that is running rampant in our cities, in our streets, and it's taken away babies, and mothers are burying their kids, and family members are losing people who had their whole future ahead of them. And for me, it's really heavy for me. It's not easy, I guess, to speak about. I have a youngin' coming up, And just to know that, Pancake was, 1920 and literally just graduated high school. And, now life is over. What do you all think about violence and passings of young individuals in this time?
I want to jump in because I know he played for the North Gloucester Giants, and when I was coaching probably about 4 or 5 years ago, we lost one of our players to a drug deal gone wrong, over marijuana, and as sad as it is for the kid that's selling it, losing his life, even the kid that was buying it that robbed him, like it's sad for both ends. Like I'm sure the kid that stabbed him didn't want to kill him, but now he's 19 years old going to jail for the rest of his life. And as a coach, you're like you feel horrible because you get to, like, these kids are like become your extended family, especially if you're coaching them for 2-3 years. You understand where they're going, you're helping them get into university, you start to know their family, and it is sad. And we have to find programs that steer these kids out of these situations that keep them. Football was my saving grace, but football is only 3 nights a week for 2 hours, 4 months of the year. And when you look at lower income or inner city kids, hockey is not an option for a lot of them, where they're busy for 8 or 9 months. Soccer is not an option for a lot of them after a certain level. And I think we need to start really looking at programs that get these kids into better situations.
I definitely hear you with the programs. I'm starting to wonder, though, just in my own, as I think about this and as I speak about this, are the programs even enough, right? Because you have some of these children who are, I didn't want to call them children, teens, young adults who are in these programs, right? And they seem to be the ones who are losing their lives, right? Out of respect for the Pancake and Tyson's family, I don't want to go into the details of their stuff. I know the investigation is still going on, so I don't want to just speak on their matter. But a lot of times, it's the ones who are in the programs who are trying to help a friend and then end up losing their life, right? So they're in the programs, they're doing the right thing. And are there enough programs out here to save everyone? I'm not sure anymore. I don't think there is anymore.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And this, like, it's funny. I was thinking about this myself. Like, what was I lacking in my childhood? I grew up in lower income housing. And I was like, I was didn't have a father, but I also didn't have male guidance. I didn't have positive male role models, and I don't. And the player of ours who was murdered, he had a father in his life. I don't know the extent of the relationship, but I know there was a male father figure in there. And I think it's really important that children have both parents involved at some point. And if you think of like a lot of single mothers, because for the most part, and I'm talking, I'm 40 years old, so I'm not trying to stigmatize or say anything, but like single moms back in the day most likely would get the kid, and then if they were could find a good relationship and they remarried or had a new date or new husband or wife, then that relationship is usually better for the child. Like that usually worked out better. It's very rare where you find the situation where the male gets the child and gets to keep with him or her.
That's true too. Andre, you kind of quiet on this topic, man. You have anything that you want to chime in on? Or you're on mute, brother. Unmute yourself, brother.
Welcome to the show, Andre. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Rookie mistakes.
Man gets a fancy background and forgets how to turn on a microphone.
No, don't say that, man. It's just Mama's birthday passed recently.
Ooh, happy birthday, Mama.
Yeah, hope she's listening wherever she's at. But yeah, to be honest with you, the question was like young violence towards young, right? Young youth.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, man, it's a worldwide thing, meaning it happened the same way in Jamaica, it happened the same way in America. And to see it here in Canada now, especially in Ottawa, it's kind of surprising to know that this is he was a 10th victim this year. Homicide in Ottawa. So it's like, before it used to seem like, before 10 wasn't seem to be a big issue, but now it's the violence is spreading everywhere, and you have to wonder what it is. Is it something in the air? Is it something that we're eating in our food for young people to be killing young people over foolishness majority of the time. Some of the time it's not even worth to get into a fist fight with that person. So to be honest, I just think that one of the big problems we have as young youths is we don't know a situation, or when there's a difference between a conversation with someone that we don't know to settle the dispute. So our first intuition is to show the person that I am tougher than you, I am more masculine than you, so I'm gonna try outdo you. And sometimes we just think with out of impulse versus being calm down or let the situation calm down itself and try to deal with it tomorrow. So in the heat of moment of things, I think we just do sometimes to suit people or suit the ego we have inside of us, and just misled us. And it's sad to know that Tyson, based on I just saw the little clip on the news, and when I watched his video, he was charismatic, he was dancing, and so we can see that he was definitely enjoying life with whatever it is he has. When he had the football field, he's dancing. So you can only imagine when he's around his family and stuff, you know. So to know that he just died like that at such a young age is really, it just made me look back and kind of appreciate life more, and actually appreciate my upbringing, to know that I was raised around with a lot of family values. Not to say that the family values could save you out in the street or anything like that, but it just kind of put you to be more vigilant when you're outside. If you know what type of crowd I'm around, and should I go that area? Why am I going there? You know, make you prioritize your step. And I don't want the negative news to reach back my family and stuff like that. And for Pancake, it seemed like a kid, as I said, who is just about life. He loved photograph, and photographer are a person who capture a moment for memories, right? So you can tell that football brings joy. So for him to just pass like that, it's really sad. But I just hope, I don't think program alone can help. I don't think prayer alone can help. I just think it's more of a
Sorry, what did you say? Prior what? Sorry.
Prayer alone cannot help. Prayer alone cannot help. Yeah, because sometimes God give us life and we don't do anything with it sometimes. So sometimes we pray to him and maybe we don't even listen to him when he talk back to us too. So I just think it's just people have to just try and show more love and don't discriminate a youth because of his community where he's from. If you can give him a word of encouragement, give him a word of encouragement. Don't assume because you see his pants below his ass, you're gonna think that you never know. Maybe it's just his upbringing wasn't there. So you can also be a parent. So I think it does take we to just help each other out, stop the stereotyping, stop judging people, and just try to deal with everyone with love and just respect and appreciate life, man. To be honest with you.
Yeah,
Kimmy, I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna throw it to Kimmy real quickly because I think over the years too, like as we're talking about like violence and young people or young adults dying in violence, it seems to be the men a lot of the times. Like, are women just unscathed from this violence, or is it just not reported? Do they have is it a different dynamic? What is your perspective on it? You can talk about either topic. I don't want you just to be the female, spokesperson, but seeing as how we have you here, let me get your opinion.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of men reported. I used to work at a group home, right? And I worked with youth that were male and female in the house, and I worked with youth that were just female. And the dudes, they might fight real quick. They might fight for like 2 seconds. And next thing you know, they're playing like ping pong together or whatever. It's like over and done. The girls, however, no, not like that at all. The girls got into the more catty, mind group think combination. And so I don't even know which one is worse. I think we're all humans and we're all kind of messed up a little bit, but definitely men probably act out more physically, but don't think that us ladies are all innocent because we bring the warfare as well, but not as seen.
Yeah, I think like Andre made a really good point with like, like the bravado of it, like Andre insults me, I need to one up him. And like I bring that back to the fatherhood and not having the positive role model, because it reminded me of something I was reading the other day when Andre was saying that, but it's like you don't know how to put out that fuse. I mean, like you get so high and anxious and you want to just punch or beat someone, but like you need a male presence in the house to kind of like bring that back to you and say, hey, like, I'm the man of this house right now. We don't act like this. That's not the right way to act, because if you're outside this house, that's not going to work. You have me here to stop you from this, but you walk outside this house, you have to deal with someone else who might not be as, as nice to you as I am.
Right.
And I think, like, and it's the same thing for the loving side of a woman. Yes, a man, and like, man can love their kids. I kiss my sons on the lips. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's something about a mother's love. You sat in that belly for 9 months.
Yeah,
like
the tenderness and nurture.
Yeah, like it's like that mother bear. Like Kimmy, if someone went to your kids, you'd be on another level of strength and ferocity. Just like,
Yes.
It's just like we bring different elements, and I think like society and media is making that look like a bad thing. We're trying to add all these things in that don't need to be there.
You touched on something very interesting, Joe. You talked about the bravado, right? And Andre was talking about settling disputes and just having that desire to kind of want to act out. And a lot of times it's because there's insecurities within that person, right? So I'm also want to discuss, what are we doing to allow young individuals to actually express themselves and to be insecure and to be vulnerable? Are us as adults, do you think the adults are offering proper safe spaces for them to, to properly channel and deal with these insecurities that they have, so they don't have to act it out in a bravado, so they can get slapped in their face and know that, boy, I don't have to go slap that man back. You know what I mean? Oh, well, I'll take it and go, right? Because I have bigger dreams and aspirations. These coping mechanisms.
I think that comes down to, like, if like Randy, like, if you get into a fight, if you started or not, if you're defending yourself, there's a point where it's like, I'm picking on someone trying to bring out this fight. And honestly, like, martial arts, jiu-jitsu will take that out of people, because you come to the gym, you get beat up. And I'm talking for myself, I beat up by a 19-year-old kid with, like, he weighs 120 pounds. Like, oh, like, I should be careful when I'm running my mouth at a traffic light because someone cut me off. Like, Kim, I've seen you train. I've seen you punch the bag. Like, if you hit me, I could fall to the floor. Do you know what I mean? And you get there like, oh, who's this woman talking? And then you're out, and like, when you're put in those situations where, like, you're doing this to someone else and they can't do anything, you realize, hey, you have compassion for that person. I'm not really trying to hurt this person, but I'm getting better at defending myself. And I think, like, more people go into jiu-jitsu, they will respect more people.
Yeah, like, I don't even want to just put it on jiu-jitsu, but any martial art, right? Like, I came up with
man. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Like, that's not real. But yeah, I came up in Taekwondo as well, and that was a thing where it's like you always had to respect your opponent no matter what, because you weren't sure what they were capable. And then once you reached a certain level, it was like, your hands and your feet were registered weapons. So you had a responsibility of how you're supposed to use those things. So it was a mindset coming up, right? So for me, at least, I didn't have to wail on people too much. I was able to kind of balance it and be strategic and play chess instead of checkers with situations I was involved in. So as we're talking about the young people, let's segue into the elders, right? So we have the president of Haiti, who was also assassinated. So we're seeing that this violence, gun violence, is not just with the young folks. What do y'all know about the assassination in Haiti? President Moise.
I know it wasn't the DEA.
Fake news.
Well, what was it? They were speaking American and English and Spanish accents or something like that.
The video I heard sounded like an American. He did not sound Spanish.
Yeah. Elaborate on that. Tell us.
It just sounded like a man from, like, Texas. That's what it sounded like.
A Longhorn.
Had that southern twang.
Yeah, deep, aggressive. The DEA, we're here.
Open up.
We're coming to save the government.
These are the things in society that just baffle me. So an assassination can take place on one end, but then we have this video surveillance where somebody's taking it from, I don't know, their cell phone or whatever. It's uploaded, it goes viral, but then we still don't know who it is. We don't, have any evidence. So it makes me wonder, like, are these videos up here just strategically just to cause distractions and to cause controversy.
Short answer, yes.
Well, yeah. To be honest, with a thing like with a crime like this, an assassination, like this, my battery. With an assassination like this is definitely not the regular Joe who go ahead and plan that and execute it like that. It have to be people who have, I want to say, I don't want to say necessarily money, but resources. I don't want to say the money part aspect, but resources to plan it like that. And to be honest, I think it's staged to use a voice so they can hear American voice, an English language speaking versus a French language speaking to stir up the narrative. So it could be, oh, it's American, but how much people speak English? It could be from Texas, but who knows? It could be from Canada, some part in Canada that speak like that too. So I think it was staged properly. I think it was what's the word? When a group of people come together and plan a conspiracy, that's the word, to get rid of him. Because to be honest, reading the news and the articles I see, he kind of opposed certain hierarchy or certain oligarchs, as they call them, rich people, whosoever they may be. Mr. Moise, President Moise seemed to oppose them a lot. So in the end of the day, with a person opposing or standing to be righteous or standing for what he believes in, he's going to have a lot of enemies. So it's going to be hard to pinpoint who those enemies are, because you have to also look at the fact that it happened in a country where they have a lot of political unrest, different reform going on. So it's not a steady place or a place where there's no form of stability. So at the end of the day, if since 2010 when that earthquake happened, or from Sir Aristide, people always protest and carrying on. So you may have those who benefit from it when the country's in an unrest. Who are those who benefit when the country is in an unrest? Things still sell in Haiti regardless. I know military stuff for sure still through Haiti. I know Haiti is used as a middle passage for stuff to pass through back and forth to the US, whether it's from Jamaica, whether it's coming from America to Jamaica to Haiti or wherever. So I think Moise, the President Moise, was actually.
Andre, how do you know that? Like, how do you know?
I know.
I'm yeah. Like, is it?
You know, listen music. You don't listen music. It's a DA. What's the DA doing there? But yeah, so, and I can use it as an example where the USA guns were coming to Jamaica. Old US Army guns, which was used in wars, going to Jamaica through Haiti. How does Haiti have that gun? American gun like that. Well, that's another topic for another day of discussion. Some President Moise seemed as if he was obstructing a lot of people from pursuing whatever objective they are. And so I just think if he just succumbed to being a upright person, fighting for something that he strongly believes in. And I think they got rid of him just because of that. And with an election coming later on this year too.
Yeah. Before we get too deep into this one, I just want to go to the chats real quickly because we had a few comments on the first topic we were talking about. Juliana Leal says, kids are not learning consequences. They feel they all deserve whatever they want for nothing. For nothing, they don't know hard work. So, instilling responsibility into young folks. I kind of agree with that one too, because I don't think some of these young people really appreciate the consequences of things that they're doing. Juliana Leo, pardon?
I disagree with you guys. I think that everything that those children learn are from us. Our bad habits, our bad tendencies, our good habits, our good tendencies. I think and I'm not judging any other parent. I'm only thinking of myself. When I think of like the way my kids act and they're bold, I'm like, whoa, that's my voice coming out of that little kid's mouth. Like that's me teaching that kid. Like those kids only learn those things from the things that we do. And sometimes we have to put them in places. Like I went to not the best school growing up, but that's because that's the neighborhood I lived in. And that's because of the choices my mother made to not get out of that neighborhood. So some people want to use the circumstances that they're stuck in to pigeonhole themselves, which I disagree with. Now, yes, there's some extenuating circumstances that, you lose 2 legs, you can't walk anymore. Well, you can't, ride your bike the same way. You have to change the way the circumstances. Very bad analogy, but you get where I'm saying.
I get you.
So I don't agree with that. And I think like the world is moving into such a different place. Like the stuff we do, like kids are so smart these days. They're like, why do I need to pick up the garbage when I can make a robot that can do that? We know no one never has to pick up the garbage again. Like that's how smart these kids are these days. Technologies. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with that in terms of that they're very knowledgeable now, right? But in terms of appreciating their consequences, I don't think that any child, right? The brain's not fully developed until you're 25. So I think anything before that, you're never going to fully appreciate certain things that happen. So even your robot example. So they don't want to take out the garbage. They're going to create a robot, but then they're not understanding that they might have to buy parts to build this robot. And then how is it going to sustain, and where are they going to house it? And, like,
but here's where I think differently than you. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm thinking that as they're growing up and they understand, like, hey, I don't want to take out the garbage, but I know I want to build that robot. And the effects of me taking out the garbage are being in a good pathway to build that robot. The thing is the kids aren't being taught the same way. So they're not understanding what's going on in the process before. There's too much dictatorship as a parent. Like, you need to do this. Why? Because I said so.
Yeah.
That's not an answer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why do you need to wash the dishes? You need to wash the dishes because when you eat food, they need to have clean food. Because if you don't have clean plates, you're going to get sick for eating and you're going to spend time in the hospital. Like, that's the real reason why we wash dishes. Do you mean that? But we never talk to our kids like that. Right. We say, you need to wash it because I said so. But those are your chores. And that's how my parents talk to me. And I catch myself talking like that to my kids. And, like, my face is very animated right now. And I do that to my kids sometimes, like, are you effing retarded? Like, that's what I'm thinking in my head. And, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't give that vibe off to my kid right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that for sure. It has to be taught, and it's learned behavior for sure. Julianne is also saying we need parents to be parents and not friends. And that is so true.
Hi, Julie. Love you. Thanks for joining the chat. Big up Portugal. Bruh, bruh, bruh. Big up.
One of the craziest things, though, when we talk about parents needing to be parents and not friends is, where's the parenting skill sets actually coming from? We just learning on the job?
You need to be learning.
I'm raising my kids completely different from how I was raised. And there's different things that come into it. There's different traditions. There's different cultural aspects on how you're raised. I was just talking to a friend earlier today. Our parents immigrated here from other countries, but they came here with a plan. They executed it. They knew they were going to raise their children here. They were very direct in what they were doing. Us now, well, I guess I can speak as a Canadian. As much as I was blessed, I was a granny raised young lady, and I had both of my parents, very, very blessed, but I was a little spoiled, a little spoiled, just a little bit. I don't have the discipline that my parents have, where it's just, it needs to be done. There's no conversation. You just do it, and you're raised doing these things. So I know I'm like far off, but I strive. I understand now why that discipline is so valuable, and it's an interesting thing.
I'm sure you're learning that from jiu-jitsu.
Well, jiu-jitsu and GT Massive, put that in my backside too. You know what I mean? But it's true. Yes, Julie, values. And Joe, I just want to touch on something that you said, because I know people that have sacrificed a lot of intimate parent time with their children, thinking that they're showing hard work, responsibility, woo. But then at the same time, the children are left either in somebody else's care, left running the streets all day, right? Get caught up. I don't know if it's like maybe it depends on where you're coming from, but I know when it comes to low income people, sometimes the parents are out of the house. Sometimes they have 2, 3, 4 jobs. Their kids are running wild all day. You know what I mean? So they don't have that energy to kind of pass on the good values, but they're thinking, hey, no, you got to work. You got to pay them bills. You got to take care of your responsibilities. So their heart's in the right place. But, kids are running wild, and they don't have a firm overall societal foundation, at least a lot of the kids I know, to really stand on. which makes me inspired to mentor the youth, to get more into parenting my kids, spreading a little bit of love like butter all over the place, and getting back in with the youth, man, because they need to feel the love. They need to be covered with consistency and fabulosity and bosom. Not in no sick way. We ain't on Bill Cosby, but you know what I mean? Just here. Put your head here.
Wait, before we go on that, because I actually want to touch on the Cosby thing. But what you're speaking about, Kimmy, I love the idea of going back to when it was really a community raising the children, right? Like, and I'm talking about here in Canada as well in the islands, but I know growing up on our block, every parent on the street knew the other parent. And when you were at their house, they knew you were at the house, and you knew that the kids were at that house because all the bikes were outside, or and they would welcome you in, and they'd teach you things. They weren't necessarily going to scold you or discipline you. Different cultures here, but like it was definitely that community raising each other. And I'd love to just go back to a time when we really had vested interest and love to one another. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
Andre, take it away.
Take it away with what, Bill Cosby?
Yeah, you're gonna go on there. Go ahead.
No, it's just, to be honest with you, I think the whole Bill Cosby scenario is still kind of, I want to say outdated, but picture me doing a crime every day in front of your eyes, Renford, and then the one day I decide to do something now, or to make a move, or you gonna highlight that, hey, you did this or you did that. So in the first place, I didn't think. Well, I don't want to offend some ladies.
It's just interesting that you just jumped to the Bill Cosby. We're talking about kids, and then you're just like Bill Cosby. But I'm not against it.
Kimmy was trying
to hit on it because we know Bill Cosby recently was released from the Philadelphia prison. He is now a free man, and he's walking the streets again. Right. So let's go ahead talk about the.
Due to earlier, Kimmy was saying we need to hold people close to our bosom, but not like Bill Cosby. So I was saying, no, don't do Bill Cosby like that. So that's what he's a free man, so you can't call him like that as soon as he's out. You're like, well, don't trust Bill, And
do you think he's guilty, Kimmy?
Pardon? You
think he's guilty?
Do I think he's guilty?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm 50-50 planet. I'm 50-50 planet only hold on. Only because half of me is very biased. I grew up, I love Bill. Even the other day, I saw a clip of him. He was walking to court and he do some kind of juk thing. I was like, okay, Bill, but you can't say it out loud. But I love him. I love him as a person. But, okay, all blind, jail, did his time. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't do his time. He was innocent.
He didn't do his time.
He was innocent.
Yeah, he was innocent.
Okay. By a court of law, I get it. He's guilty by public opinion. Court of law, he was innocent. However, I am not putting aside the fact that he could have very well been into some freaky shit. I'm sorry to say it.
So what? You're not?
I'm just saying.
Again.
When you open them gateways, you don't know what's going to creep in. Okay?
Kimmy, that's what I was getting at, Kimmy, earlier when I was saying it, because I was reading an article where they're saying Hollywood don't want Bill Cosby in Hollywood. It's like, come on, but Hollywood is the mecca of slapness, of Sodom and Gomorrah is him. Hollywood is and for them to come out now and saying that they don't want him there, what morals is there in Hollywood? For them to say something like that, it's just for the camera, it's just for the public to hear that saying, okay, fine. How long has Bill Cosby been in Hollywood? How many parties have he kept over these years? Usher still keeping party. There's still Hollywood actors still keeping private party in your mansion and stuff like that. And what you think is going on there? You're drinking Pepsi and cola champagne? No. They are getting wasted until I just think what happened is in the Hollywood is they have a black book. They keep the negative stuff on people. And as soon as you try to say you want to do something in a light that will probably help more people, they're going to try and pull you back. Because, for example, why I say that is, ironic, building this for decades, they said, right? Decades from the 70s, 80s. All right, fine. But why as soon as he decided to buy, what was the name?
NBC
network. The network.
He's making an all-black network. And that's when all this stuff came out.
They didn't want that. All of that started came out, right? When I remember Bill Cosby giving back to the pen relays, cause Jamaica. This is when I was in Jamaica reading the article. I'm like, what? And Bill Cosby would go there and donate to. So they, for example, instead of Bill Cosby giving to athletes, he will give it through the pen relays that he sponsors stuff. Nobody talk about that. I've never seen that blow up on the news ever. If you can Google it, Bill Cosby giving back through the pen relays. But all of a sudden, he decided to want to do good, which is owning a media outlet, not BET, but a proper media outlet that give news and all that stuff. People come at him and start to say all these things. So all I'm saying is, I just think that in the mainstream Hollywood or whatever business it is, they keep stuff on you, keep your dirt on you, and they don't release it until when it suits them or when they see it trying to get ahead. Because maybe Bill Cosby is really remorse for doing those stuff in the 80s, and maybe he's trying to turn around a new page. Why bring that back up on him? Look what they're doing to Rachel Nichols right now.
Just to add on that, though, I don't think he was showing remorse, right? He said he was innocent. He said it was all consensual acts. So I don't think there was a remorseful sentiment, which is why some people are very upset that he is out. That's just from my understanding.
No, when I said remorse, I'm not saying about the situation. No, maybe, as I say, you've done dirt in the past. Right. Remember, I was saying the Hollywood Black Book, so they know about his dirt. But maybe he's trying to correct those things now or being remorse about that. So they just put it out in the public. For example, like Nichols, the NBA reporter who they leak a video of her complaining about something last year. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. Like, at the end of the day, maybe you guys want to get rid of her, drop the video last year. Don't wait till a year pass and try to work on people's emotion to make it seem as if they feel his level. Rachel is this bad person, blah, blah, blah. Because to be honest, she's white, and I'm not going to sit and be like, oh, yes, she's wrong. And we've complained about other stuff where maybe we think that we're suitable for the job and they give it to that person. So maybe in her head, she's just saying the truth, but it just happened to be on a record. She's talking her own private. To me, that's why I think she's behind a closed door. She's at a hotel, her hotel room, and her own camera is on. So it's not like she want to get the world. You know, she just complaining normal, like, well, yeah, if they want to give rent for the job, fine, but don't give rent for the job because they want to suit something like an agenda. And she have a clear point. But why people don't go with it to say, well, okay, then coming from an ESPN worker saying that ESPN is doing this just for a facade, people should have taken that part and look at it like, wow, how many things have they done just to suit the public or try to make the public have a view of them or to gain ratings? Then you're going to do something like that. Why we don't look at that part? But we're going to quickly say Rachel Nichols is racist. Or Bill Cosby thing come out, oh, Bill Cosby is a rapist. Raping 50-something, 40-year-old girl, 30-year-old girl. Come on, man. It's all, to me, it's all BS, and I'm glad he's out. I just hope that he can try and still pursue whatever it is he was trying to pursue before he go in, and just come with a different name than Bill Cosby and Little Bill.
They call him Bill Cosby now. Bill Cosby.
That's disrespectful, you know. And I'm not gonna sit.
I know, and I love him. I love him too, but I definitely think when you're dealing with Hollywood, anything goes, man. I don't know. I wasn't there. I think there was a lot of kinkiness, a lot of pills.
Well, what does that matter?
Modern day, it'd be like Molly. Oh, come, let's go to the party and like, let me give you some Molly. And all of a sudden you're like sucking everything. Yeah. Well, I've never taken it personally. That's just what I heard. I don't know.
But guys, as we were talking,
listen, hold up. Before we move forward, the chat is lighting up, so I just really want to hit some of these chats. Juliana Leal is saying he was a good character. That does not mean he was a good person, referring to Bill Cosby not being the same as Heathcliff Huxtable, right? We fell in love with the American Dad, Heathcliff Huxtable, not necessarily Bill Cosby, right? Then Juliana also said that he was guilty. Shen Darrell says they used his own words against him, and then they filed charges. And I think that happened to be with, he decided to testify in a civil case or something like that, and there was an agreement that he wasn't going to be charged, and then they turned around and charged him with the words that he said in that. So, I mean, the chat's lighting up. There's so much here. I didn't want to cut you off, but I just wanted to get to some of these comments before we went further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's so funny, we were talking about family earlier, and Bill Cosby show was one of those shows that try to portray a black family, you know what I mean? Like a black family can be progressive, a black family can be on the way up. And now the same person we're talking about in this negative light, you know what I mean? And you got to show that what's on screen is not necessarily what's in real life. You know, like
sounds
when
like you're changing. You have to remember, sounds to me, Dre, like you're changing the way you feel about him. Like I don't know about the guy, if he's a good guy, bad guy, Dr. Huxtable, whatever. The thing is the court said he is innocent. The first court, when he went 3 years ago, said he was innocent. They brought him back, said he was guilty. They retried him again. He was innocent. So like all the stuff we say about our opinions don't matter. And that's the problem, is that social media and the news makes you get opinions of someone. And when we don't look at the facts, and when you look at COVID, that's an exact example of what's happening right now. They're trying to divide us based off of who's getting the vaccine and who isn't, based off of opinions. So even this conversation here drives me crazy, because we're sitting here talking about about our opinions, and how if it's freaky, like I've done some freaky shit. You guys don't like me anymore? No.
I still love you, Joe.
But there's going to be people out there who would say bad stuff about me. Do you know what I mean? Without me defending it, and you just go on the news and say, "Oh, Joe's a jerk. He, Pill Bill." Like, and now these names are about this man. What if he was just a great man? It's the same thing with Michael Jackson. Did he actually do that? Like when you talk to people like Macaulay Culkin, they're like, I remember a reporter went up to him and was like, what do you say about this? He goes like, "You're talking about my friend. The guy's dead. He's my friend. I care about him." So we get too wrapped up in what other people's opinions say about us, and we want to worry about it. Like. Us as adults are just as bad as these kids. Before social media, we were sitting there at the checkout line looking at, those little magazines with all like the stars in it. And like, what's the drama happening now? So like, I think like we need to set the tone as to what's okay and what's not okay to dive into on social media about like when we don't have true opinion. We don't have facts. I mean,
as you're saying all of that, Joe. So it begs the question, is the trial by media and peers more valuable than the justice system, or is one being held?
It guides it. Look at the Netflix series with the kids from New York, the 12 and 13-year-old kids.
The
Babies? What was it called? Babies?
When You See Us?
No, it was like they called them like
cuties.
I noticed. No.
I forget. It was on Netflix. It was like
where the four of them got wrongfully arrested.
Five of them, yeah.
And then one of them came back mentally, like he's stuck in 12 years old. Yeah,
when they see us.
And that was all because of the media.
Right.
Like five kids, and they wanted to accuse them of doing it because they were 5 black kids, and they were 100% innocent. And like I cried throughout the whole flipping thing, because like you're just like thinking like, when they see us, yes, thank you, whoever put that in there. I'm getting goosebumps right now. And that's because the media needs to portray something. A woman in a position of power is abusing her power, and then writes a book about it, about how she put these kids away. Like it's disgusting. And what happens is that too many people, and myself included, like we see this stuff and we don't speak up, we don't say about it. We don't want to hear the facts. We want to hear like, oh, he's a disgusting guy. He did weird things. I bet he did weird things. I bet he put his tongue somewhere. But half of us have our own secrets. You know what I mean?
I know that's right.
And that's what I was saying, Joe. Like, it's funny that the same person we see on the TV who was selling us a lifestyle that we all want, now we're looking at him in that limelight to say, well, oh, he's a bad person and all of that. So you got to show that it's not everything too that you see on TV you should believe. So when you're even going to segue a bit about the whole COVID thing, it's the same thing. Because it's being said or being read by a news reporter, it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean, today they read, in Ontario, majority of the senior citizens have got their COVID shot, like majority of them, like close to 100%, they said. But for youths, like under 18, it's like 15 or some percent and all of that stuff. And I'm looking at it like, but majority of the people I know still haven't taken it. Whether black, white, pink, purple, haven't taken it. I know a few couple of older guys who are 60s we work with do went and get their shot. But when I look at them, the masses who are my age group, who are 30, my age group, none of them take it. But yes, let's say so much person taking it daily. Those who book in the fall can book now. And it's like, just because it's on the news, everyone is going to run with it and think, yeah, because they say it on the news, it's true. Again, I just think the media is all, it's like Hollywood. Their whole plan is just to, as Joe said, to just lead by dividing and rule, misleading people and put some information out there and just turn people against people. Because some people who I grew up love Bill Cosby turn on 18 Bill Cosby. Why would you use something so disgusting? We all have sins, my friend. No sins is greater than no sin. Yeah, I kill a cat, you kill a man. It's still killing in the most eyes. But to man on earth, the one who killed the human is... We don't know what that animal was doing. Maybe it was a provider. It's still life inside of it. We don't know if our life and the rat life is the same life. Because at the end of the day, we're all animals. But they just say that we are the rational animals, the human beings. But yes, we act sometimes more vicious than the animal. You know what I mean? To be honest with you. So I don't like to judge Bill, but I'm just glad he's out, to be honest with you, man. I'm really glad he's out.
Wow, man, the chat is blowing is up.
Yeah, I have
shout out to Shen Daryl. Shout out to Dan, Denise. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to SEB. New. I don't know, man. It's tough when it comes to Bill. I know human beings do some messed up stuff. I think that it's wonderful that, you know what I mean?
Listen, I think it's tough with anybody. Anybody who is
that's where it needs to be.
With anything. And this is the problem that happens is that, you know, when somebody's charged with an offense, whatever it might be, right, is in the front page of the newspapers, all over the media, as Andre is saying. But when that person gets convicted, or when the case is thrown out, or they're found not guilty, it's this like small little line on page 26 of the paper, you know, next to like, I don't know, something that you're not even looking at, right? So we have to get into a situation where we truly understand the information that is coming to us, and we can't just take it at face value. You definitely got to delve in, do your research. You know, I'm not about, Bill Cosby's free and all that stuff. It's all about the fact that he was tried. He was found not guilty. Somehow, some way, they retried him when they weren't supposed to, and that was improper. And then they retried it and let him go. And the justice system, if it wasn't proven beyond a reasonable doubt and the prosecutors didn't do their job, then he should be released just like anybody else should be, regardless of whatever crime it is that you committed, you know. And this whole chastising and criminalizing people in media with small facts, not even understanding all the nuances, I don't think it's proper. Denise says they still have to prosecute properly. That's how the justice system should work. No, she's asking the question. Yes, that's exactly how it should work. Juliana Leal is saying, in a locked room, how does a woman prove rape? Now, put it in that she was drugged. You know, my thing with the whole Bill Cosby thing is, and forget just Bill Cosby, any women, I think women who go through, especially sexual assaults and stuff like that, it takes on their whole life. And how do you prove it? I don't know how you prove it.
How does a man prove his innocence in a locked room? And I'm not like Julianne. I want to make sure like you understand. Like I'm not. If that happened, he deserves to go to jail, and he's a horrible person. Do you mean that's not what I'm saying? What I am saying is that like he was found innocent twice, and there's a lot of other factors. You know, when you talk about like him trying to start his own TV station that is focused on Black people. You know, that's a problem to Hollywood. When you look at the home he owns, that's on a gas pipeline that's worth billions of dollars that he didn't want to sell. This could also be a way to bankrupt him. You know, I put that link in our chat. I don't know if you can share it in the comments, but to me, there's a lot of other things that people don't see that the media won't say about, and that doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but it makes me think in another direction as opposed to like, this guy's weird. He drugged these women and locked them in a room. What's weird to me is that these people are coming back decades later. You know, sometimes trauma, you know, you're afraid he's a media star. They don't believe it. But was anything ever said before? You know, like these are things you ask, and like that doesn't downplay rape. I get that, you know. So that's not what I'm saying, but I think that these are things I think about as well, because men get falsely accused all the time from women, and sometimes it's because the women are just jealous of what's going on in that person's life.
And I think also there's separate issues as well, right? Like the trying to denounce the legacy of Bill Cosby, or trying to extract the land and the mine on the land that he has in order to stop him and to bankrupt him from being able to own a TV network. I think that's a separate issue versus just the sexual assaults, right? And if the sexual assaults happen and they were proven beyond a reasonable doubt for whatever, and that's maybe not even a fair assertion of how we even determine if somebody is assaulted or not on either spectrum, innocent or guilt, right? But those are separate entities, and everything's being put into one pot, and we're trying to like separate them, and I think it's difficult to do that, no matter how you look at it.
You know what though? We are so saturated with social media. It's hard to separate and
it's hard, but
clearly and like break away from it.
It's hard, but you must, because it's the same thing when you say that somebody committed a crime or did this heinous act, but then, well, they're a great person, right? The funeral happens, they're a great person. Come on. Not everything they did in their life was great, but now in my box, that's when you're going to tell me all the great things that I've ever done. And I never did anything wrong, and I was faithful in the community, you know, but when I was living, you were saying negative things about me. You didn't want to talk to me. You didn't want to call me on the phone. You know what I mean? So I think we just got to be honest with ourselves, really.
I think we have to do, like, Kimmy, you're right. We are saturated with this, but I think like you hear a story, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying like me, I hear a story about something, and let's use Bill Cosby. And if I have a reaction to it, like either you like, who's Bill Cosby? I don't care about this story. Or you're like, okay, I love Bill. He was Dr. Huxtable. You're like, okay, could he actually do this? And then I start researching things deeper into it, as opposed to just saying like, oh, CBC said, you know, he's drugging women, and these women are saying all these bad things. So I look into like, okay, how long has he known this woman for? Okay, there's videos of them hanging out and dancing and making out 50 years ago, you know. Then I look at like these gaslighting things, and I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. So my opinions start to unroll. Then I'm like, okay, he was innocent the first time. Then they went back and used some words against him, and then they went back and retried that, and he's innocent again. It's like that. Those are the things that make me lead to it.
I think we also got to be careful when we say words like innocent, right? Innocent or guilty, because it's not necessarily that he was innocent, but he was found not guilty.
What's the difference?
There's a huge difference, because I can go out and kill somebody and cover my tracks and all that stuff. I'm not innocent. I did it, but the facts were not able to be proven. The evidence wasn't there to be brought before a jury or to be brought before a judge to pinpoint me to that particular action. Doesn't mean I'm innocent of the crime. So let's go back to O.J. Simpson, right? So a lot of people say O.J. had a hand in it. He knew what was going on or whatever, but in a criminal matter, he was found not guilty. That doesn't mean he was innocent of not having knowledge of what happened or innocent in partaking in the act. So innocence and not guilty are not necessarily the same thing. So again, it goes back to understanding these quote unquote legal terms that are going on, but then it's not the same. Or a freedom fighter versus terrorist.
Well, Joe touched on a point.
Same thing.
Joe touched on a point that I also want to capture too. When you said you were doing your research and then you said the gaslighting thing, and then you're like, okay, it sounds a bit fishy. It was going a direction that maybe the mainstream people wouldn't like. It sounded like with Gaddafi, the Libya president, when he was all about the whole African central bank, the African have their own union, and they got rid of him. He was friend with England and all of them in the good time when they're back in the days when President, I don't remember the England, Blair, I think his name is, the UK president, I think, at the time, and they're all friends. They take planes together and all of that stuff. And as soon as he said, okay, then Africa need to have their own money and go back to using golds. So with that currency now, what he wanted to implement to never devalue, because his thinking was that saying, okay, then if I should pass on like debt and leave my son $10, that $10 should be valued $10 in future years. It shouldn't have no devaluing. So that was his goal. It was aim to unify Africa by doing that. So, and also the reason why he was a threat to the, I don't want to say America, but to the rulers of the world, he was a threat. He had the resources to do that. You know, he was a rich guy, he has the oil and all of that stuff. So he could have funded all that AU. And by funding the AU, the African Union, they wouldn't need the West. They wouldn't need no money from the World Bank or from I'm not even. There's so much talk going through my head right now. All the different lenders of the world who lend people money and stuff like that, where people go and get money, they wouldn't need the West. And then when you find out now, there be a unification of the black man that time. They got rid of Colonel Gaddafi by saying he's doing this in his country and have rebels killing him and all that stuff. But 5 years ago it was all good. Then he went and ripped up the pamphlet. So at the end of the day, sometimes what one agenda is, it may offend someone else and they try to get rid of you and they bring your dirt again to come back and use it against you. So we've seen it happen. There's other people who try to do the same unification again of a particular group and things happen to them. The indigenous people too, look at that.
Yeah. I feel like every single time we have a conversation, we keep harping on the fact of do your research. Don't just accept knowledge and information that is fed to you or is just right in front of you. Dig deeper. Take the time out. Make educated, informed decisions on everything that you're doing. It might take some time, but it's better than just jumping on a bandwagon and you don't even know where that wagon's taking you. But it's interesting that we keep coming back to that. We might have to rename this thing from Join the Chat to Educate Yourself.
Yeah. Trust me.
Yeah. No, this is good. Listen, there was a few more world controversies that we could have gotten on. We're already an hour out. Is there anything anyone wants to touch on before we close off? We can continue. I like the way this is going.
It's raw.
Joe, what you say, Joe?
I said it's raw.
Okay, I'm a GI. I have to ask the Joe what's up, you know what I mean?
What just happened?
Oh, I say I'm the GI, so I have to ask the Joe what's up.
GI Joe, American hero.
Man. But one of the next.
No, but this is a good conversation about the Cosby, the media, trying to ruin people's legacies, trying to just push information and lead us a certain direction. It's good.
It's definitely interesting. It's interesting for sure. And just like Joe said with the vaccine, it's got a lot of people divided and probably are divided based on ignorance and a lack of information and lack of facts. You know what I mean? So, but I am happy that the justice system pulled through when it comes to the law, because no offense, but the justice system sometimes does not work in very many people's favor sometimes. And so I'm happy that it was able to come through with that.
Hey, well, this is also an issue too. Not everyone has the monetary resources that others have to be able to take this case to all these lengths, right? As we're talking about when they see us, the Central Park 5 versus like a Bill Cosby. So they had lack of funds. And because of that, most of them got caught up a certain way, lack of resource, lack of understanding. Bill Cosby has resource, has understanding, has the money, and is able to, fight it years after year.
Even the name, the Central Park 5, like that's just like criminalizing them in the media.
Right.
And like the picture was like, anyways, let's move on.
To what? To the Olympics or to the Euros? Which one is this? To the Olympics or to the Euros?
Yeah, we can end light, man. So let's go on the Olympics. The Olympics.
That's light.
That's light, brother.
Yeah, because
that ain't like that heavy.
That woman's lifting heavy.
The other things that we had on this list of world controversies today, this is the lighter one out of all of them for sure. But yeah, the Olympics are going on with some craziness right now. So in the media recently this week, Carrie Richardson is suspended for smoking marijuana, admitted to it. She's in the state of Oregon where it is legal. And now the Olympic Federation has suspended her, and she is not able to compete in the Tokyo Olympics. So, what do you have to say about the Olympics? What do you have to say about what Olympic committees are doing?
They need to go back to Greece when the Olympic first started in 1930, whatever, in Greece, because that's where they are. How you gonna ban a lady for doing or taking a non-performing enhancing drugs, recreational drugs, and then you allow a guy from New Zealand to do weightlifting with women? Like how you go about it, and also what will show that the guy, the weightlifter, the guy who is transitioning, had to take pills to reduce his hormones, productivity or whatever it is, to make him look more like a female, and it's in weightlifting.
Right,
so.
But the craziest thing with that, Andre, is that as he's taking pills to decrease his testosterone, there's other females that are being banned because their testosterone level is too high.
I was even gonna go there next, brother.
So man, we look at that. The contradictions are all over the place.
All over the place. So when you look at it, it's like, what are you guys doing in the Olympic? One guy is taking something to reduce it. This lady has more. You guys saying she has too much. Like, you guys need to rewrite whatever it is you're rewriting. The girl was taking something that was legal in her state. That's the next problem too. Like, it wasn't illegal, but yet still it's okay for someone, an athlete, to be in the camp and drink beer and go participate the next day. That's because the beer is legal.
Or tobacco.
Do you think that the athletes should be held to a higher standard?
Which
as representing on a world stage?
The one with the female who they caught with the weed?
Wait a second. In terms of being held to a higher standard in what regard? One second. In what regard, Joe?
Just overall, in general.
I don't think so. I think they're human beings. I think they're there because they have a certain skill set. I think, yes, there is a responsibility with the platform that they do have once they're there. And, you know, they should want to carry themselves in a certain light. But they weren't there to be role models. They were there to run, jump, throw. You know what I mean? That's what they were there for.
Yeah. Why are they not there to be role models as representatives of your country?
Well, go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, I could see them. You can see them as a role model, because I remember what a role model is. I can just look at that person and say, I want to be like that person. But I may not see that person as a role model in the sense of a role model in how to better my character. You know what I mean? I don't see that person as that role model. Say, okay, I'm going to learn from this person how to be punctual. Am I on time? Am I late? Good morning, sir. Good that. But a role model in the sense of, I see that person do it, I want to do it too. Like, that person set an example for me. That's how I see artists or whatever it is. I don't expect them to teach my kids or come on, but whatever they're doing, we want them to do it at the best of their ability at a high standard. Meaning, if I support a athlete and in the 90th minute of the game, I want that athlete to be able to still perform at a high standard, like able to run and whatever. Those are the standards we hold them at. How fit are you, or durable, you know what I mean? Your recovery times. Those are the things
that you're saying you look up to them as the athlete only.
As an athlete, but for character wise, maybe they do. If for example, I see LeBron James doing a charitable thing, then I can take from that and say, whoa, LeBron actually did something outside of the sports. I want to do that. But I'm not looking to athletes to be exemplary for me to in my character development. I don't look at people. I don't even know them. I don't even know some of my family members.
So do you think people that represent your country at the Olympics should be held to higher character standards?
Character, well, they already, to be honest, for them to make it that far, they definitely have to show some form of character, because
not everyone. Like, you could just be a natural athlete and be the best in the world.
Yeah, but at some point you could be the best athlete, but you still have to train. You must have to get up at 5 o'clock sometime to go to that training. Even if you don't do it for yourself personally, when the camp calls, you have to be doing what the team is doing regardless. So that's some form of discipline. And you have to do drug tests, all of that stuff.
But you also have the outliers like Aaron Hernandez.
Aaron Hernandez? Well, at the end, he's a young. You can, with him, for example, with Aaron Hernandez, I could look on it as Bren was saying earlier. He was young. You know what I mean? He was still pretty much a kid. And imagine a guy, 21-year-old, having $2 million to blow. You know what I mean? He just feel like he's invincible at that time. So that's where the stardom of the game got to him. So he thought that, yeah, I'm invincible. I'm playing in the NFL. I won the Super Bowl. So he probably got over his own head. But check Aaron Hernandez before he reached here, regardless of what activity he may have done in his teenage years, but he still have to have some form of discipline. Regardless.
Back to your question, Joe, I think as a role model, I don't think the athletes have to be role models, but I believe if the country does not believe that they are a fit to represent the country, I think that country has the right for
them. That's not what I'm asking you. That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking, do you, Ren, feel that a person representing Canada or Jamaica or whatever country should be a cultural fit, not a cultural fit. What's the word I was using?
A role model.
A role model, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
a role model. Because like to me, the Olympics is the highest. And like this girl smoking weed, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying off topic away from that.
I hear you. And that's what I'm answering. So but at the end of the day, is that them being a stellar athlete and them being a role model aren't the same thing. But if the country who is putting forth their athletes to compete at that level want people to be role models and don't want the best athletes, and that's a part of their criteria, they have all the way in the world to say that this person isn't who are choosing to represent us. And I think
but that's not what I'm asking. You're putting the onus on this answer on Canada to make the decision. I'm saying you, because I'm telling you my answer is when I watch the Olympics with my family, I would rather lose a gold medal and have the best athlete, but have the best character person next. Like that person lost, they came third, fourth, or fifth, but they've done so many good things for our community because that's what you need to do.
How many people were great athletes and finished 8th place, didn't even make the finals, and you don't even know their names?
But that's not what I'm asking. You're deflecting away from the answer of the question. You are.
I'm not.
Yeah. So answer the question, yes or no.
I'm saying they're not the same.
So, but that's what I'm asking you. Do you feel
when I watch the Olympics or any sport, I want the best athlete in that particular sport because when I'm
representing your country over the best person at that. So if it's me versus you for this spot, you're better than me, but you're in a gang.
Oh. And one thing.
If we're going to the Olympics, it's me. It's between you, Kimmy, Andre, and myself to be able to go in the 100-meter race. And you run faster than me, and you're breaking records. Yeah. You need to go.
Yeah, that's
just how I look at it. At the end of the day, now if you are a horrible role model and a horrible person, and Canada chooses for you to go, Canada has that choice. If they refuse for you to go,
what if it's Ren that has that choice, not Canada? Ren is picking the Olympic team right now.
Yes, so I'm picking the Olympic team. I'm picking the fastest person. I'm picking the best athlete because that's what, at the end of the day, that's what I'm asking them to do. I'm not going to go and hire the greatest plumber to be an architect just because they're a great person. The job that I need done is architectural work. I don't need plumbing done. So I'm hiring the architect. I'm not hiring the
I'm not asking you to switch roles. I'm asking you to pick the best human being that could represent our country. Because that trickle effect.
So then same thing. We're
not the same thing. You're picking the best athlete.
Okay, so listen, so let's go back, forget the Olympics, forget representing the country. I need work to be done on my house. I need a great contractor. And there's one contractor and he has great morals, but isn't the best at doing the job. And the other person doesn't necessarily have the best morals, but is a genius and can get the job done. I'm paying him for that activity. I'm paying the person to do the job, to get the job done right. Best. That's
maybe. Because maybe he'll forget to put a piece in, and because he's got bad morals, he's not going to come back.
No. But again, we're talking about.
I'm so lost. Hold on, before y'all come back with the. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. Maybe me I know, but I'm tapping into the chat. Okay? First of all, big up Cheryl Archer, Wagwan. She said that ain't light, bro, Bo. And it's not. Yeah. I knew that once we started talking about the Olympics, somewhere else around the world.
We're laughing. I'm just saying, at least we're laughing. That's all I meant. Yeah, Cheryl, you're right. It's not that light.
Watch what so that's the answer you to Joe. I'm going to answer this one SCB question. You see, in terms of going to a competition, there's for Olympics. I'm preparing for Olympics. The athletes, it's all about who do the best time and all of that stuff to qualify. It's not about the individual character. When I rather have someone who is a person, a good behaving person, or portray a good characteristic, my politicians. Because those people represent me and they're talking on the TV, and that person, I want to see the personality in them, because it's not that time for them to race or run. It's how they treat people. And then the pastor, for example, I use. There's certain roles where you need characteristic to judge or to perform or to enhance that portfolio you're doing. So prime minister, presidents, your CEO at your workplace, you need those people to have characteristic that say, okay, morals and stuff in place. But for athletes, I'm not gonna hold the character, because at the end of the day, as you said, the athlete probably just a natural born athlete. He can do that is given talent, but his character, again, hopefully, if you look at it this way, my country will have people in place that teaches my athletes how to do media and all of that stuff, how to act and stuff like that. But I can't see myself really holding any athlete. I'm not gonna say they could go do something stupid like shoot up a bar or stuff like that, or like the Indian players.
His wife.
Or the Indian player. I was just gonna say, are the Indian players who went to the club and all shooting, or that NFL player dragging his wife. I'm not saying that. I don't believe in those parts. I know.
But they're the best. They're the best. They're the fastest. You're gonna put them in.
The thing is,
no, you see, boy, never do that.
Hold up. But see, this is the issue that comes with athletes or whatever. You're talking about the Olympic race. I'm talking about the race. I want them to run the 100, the 200, the 400, the decathlon, whatever the case is, right? That's what we're talking about. And now you're going based on what they did at the club, what they did in their house, what they did, like that stuff is outside of the purview of what I'm putting the person on the team for. I get what you're saying in terms of you want to have good role models so the world can look up to the
This is the world stage.
But it's not the world stage of good character. It's the world stage of fastest, strongest individual, longest jumper. That's what the world stage, this world stage has been created for.
Guys, hold on a second. I'm so confused. What are we talking about here? Is the girl that got disqualified a bad representative because she bought a spliff? Is that what we're saying? I don't understand. No. I'm so lost.
You need to ask the soul rebel. Ask the soul rebel what he means.
Because like I asked the question, like, would you want the best character person to represent your country, or do you just want the straight up best athlete to represent your country?
Okay, but is this talking about the girl that got disqualified for the split?
No, I don't think she should have been disqualified for that. I think because to touch on SCB's comment, it's isn't legal internationally, and the Olympics are an international organization. I get that, but there should be a cutoff date because it was legal in her state,
right?
But I don't think if Usain Bolt was a wife beater, he would not be held in the same regard right now. You have an image to carry as one of these top athletes, and what I'm saying is that to build better nations and to build better people and to build better politics, those things need to spill over into our sports because we hold our athletes into such high regard. If LeBron James came on right now and said, my whole family's taking the vaccine or my whole family's not taking the vaccine, people would switch like that because we look up to these people. What we need to start doing.
But that's problematic.
So exactly. So change it. Don't if you look back at high school sports, if you only take the best athletes, that's not best for the team. The team is Canada. And that's what we're not thinking here right now. Our team is not the 4x100 meter relay that we all like to watch for 52 seconds. That's the problem, is we put too much weight on those things that don't matter. It doesn't matter who the fastest man in the world is. What matters is there's people starving in the world and we don't give a shit about that. Like that's what matters.
Watch this though.
100%,
Watch this
but
though. Watch this though, Joe. To
I
be
don't
honest with
think
you,
I don't think you can put the onus on the athletes to fix the nations.
yeah.
That's,
What you were saying earlier, Joe, with the high school part and not performing, the reason why they do that in high school, you're in high school, you're learning, you don't know what it is you're gonna do. You're transitioning between preparing yourself to go to post-secondary or prepare yourself for the world, whatever it is. So in athletes, why they have the rules in place to say, okay, you have to maintain a certain grades before you can play. You could have 20 suspension. You still can participate in the sport if your grade is up. So in school, they're only basically just for your grades. So you could be suspended, miss school, blah blah blah. Once your attendance okay and you have your grades, you can play. For an athlete, like a professional athlete now who's doing all this training, you can go tell an athlete, okay, then you need to have this grade, or you need. We're not saying that they should have records of being in.
Andre, can I jump on this exact point that you're talking about? Yeah. You're 100% right, but this is what happens: is those athletes, they're so good at sports, we let them get by. And then they go to college and we let them get by. And they go to the pros and they do these things and we let them get by. And then they end up killing someone. Do you know what I mean? So
come on, man. Yes and no. But at the same time, you have to look at who are the coach. You're a coach, right? I coach, right? So any person, any child that comes through my program, I have a responsibility as a coach, as a parent, and as an adult to speak into their lives, not just with the sports, but to build the whole person. Right? So if that person was, bless you. So if those athletes are going through
he's lying.
It's on you now.
Listen, if all of those athletes, and it kind of goes to SEB's point here, she's saying she 100% agrees with Joe, just like in high school when you couldn't compete in sports if you were mischievous in school, right? So we're going back to that, but the sports and the developing the character are supposed to go hand in hand. If I'm choosing you to be a part of that team, I should be trying to groom you. I should be trying to mentor you so that you are and you do develop good character. Characteristics.
But it doesn't matter because Ren's picking the best athletes, so you don't need character to be on Team Canada.
No. To hear what Ren said, though, that's what I'm saying. To what Ren said. Hear what Ren said, though, Joe. He's saying that he will choose the best athlete, but he will have things in place to enhance the athlete's characteristics. So yes, you can perform athlete, but you don't know how to behave. I'm gonna get you a coach or someone who can teach you to behave a particular way. You know what I mean? That's what he's saying. So
I'm not saying like get rid of that.
Hold on. Listen, even if that means I'm telling the person, don't speak. When you see a camera, just V-line and go to the change room. Just go to the hotel room.
I'm still going to talk. I'm going to talk every time. I'm going to talk every time because I just do what I want to do, Ren. I don't care. I'm the fastest man in the world. It doesn't matter.
Join Team Canada.
That's really there's consequences.
Then in that case, I got to cut you, Joe, because you're not listening to my direction. You got to go.
Told you.
Watch this.
Hold
One thing I want to address earlier. You see in the
character didn't matter.
You see in the comment where STB was saying marijuana isn't legal internationally, and that's true. But guess what happened? The Olympics didn't have in the Olympic law, and someone was saying too, I believe it's Denden was saying she knew the rules though. She knew the rules, but the rules didn't say marijuana. The Jew said performance enhanced drugs. She wasn't taking a performance enhancing drug, but she was being technical, meaning she was following the rules. How does it enhance her?
It helps you recover faster.
Recover?
What?
CBD doesn't help you recover?
Who calm you down? You're gonna say that, Joe? You're
I'm gonna do my research and make an informed, educated decision.
No.
Whenever I heard performance enhancing drugs, I always thought about the WWF, Hulk Hogan just ripping off, and like the Ultimate Warrior. I was just like, yo, those are
steroids and all that little stuff.
They were like the spokespeople. So, I'm like, how are your nipples so,
how does every conversation that we have come back to making How does every conversation come back to making
like, geez, where are you getting that stuff, bro? Can you make my nips like that? That couldn't even squeeze out a driplet of milk. But anyways, I don't I didn't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. The whole world's gone mad. Like, that's just what I think. The whole world's crazy. I'm clearly crazy. All y'all is crazy. And that's what it is, you know?
And on that note, I think we're going to stop joining the chat for the evening, because that is the great segue to ending it. Any last words, Joe, Andre, Kimmy, that you want to say to the listeners?
Honestly, this is a great chat. Like, Brandon had no energy when we started, and he's full of energy right now. So happy for him.
You triggered him.
Yeah, everyone who listened today, I thought you guys had great questions, and it really helped us kind of keep the ball rolling with stuff. So we appreciate that. Keep listening.
Joe, when are you launching?
I've already have one launched, but I've been slacking. I have filmed my second one on Saturday and third one next Thursday.
No doubt. So that is Joe's podcast. Stay tuned for that. More information is coming very, very soon. Kimmy, any last words for us?
Yes. Shout out to the chat peeps. Big up to Den. She did just squeeze in that they did list it as a no-no, and I think that could matter from where your head point is going. If you know you ain't supposed to be doing something and you just kind of cocky and comfortable and you do it anyway, it's not a good look. I don't know all the details yet myself, but I love the chat. I think you guys are absolutely amazing. I want to do part 2 of every single one of these topics that we got going on. Bring the heat, bring the facts. And I appreciate you, Joe, for sharing that link for further information. I am jumping on that research train and choo-chooing it all the way to the station, baby.
Yeah, I just want to thank the audience tuning in tonight. I enjoyed the interaction and the question that was raised or the point that was made. And it was nice chatting to everyone. I enjoyed the vibe. Honestly, before I thought it wasn't going to be, it was a bit touchy on certain topics, but we survived it and I enjoy every moment of it, honestly, to God. And as Kimmy said, we should do a part 2 of these things. And Joe, don't forget to put me on your podcast, brother.
Come on.
Don't forget one-on-one. No, it's
my good character is only the dummy on the team, my athletic ass.
Hey, listen, y'all. This is Join the Chat. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining with us this night. If you like what you've heard, if you missed certain features of it, make sure you check us out on our YouTube channel, Join the Chat, and you can like, subscribe, share, watch past episodes, and we will be back in 2 weeks. This is Join the Chat, the place where every single voice matters, where your opinions are important, where you are empowered to express yourself, and we try to offer a free and open platform to speak and also to be heard. Until next time, Renford, Mr. Bojangles, on behalf of Kim, Joey, and Andre, we are signing off. This is Join the Chat. See you in a couple of weeks, y'all.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Ow.